What's up, Internet? Don here from DonDoes30.com, bringing you a, hacking tutorial, but more along the lines of setting up your own hacking lab. So you could go ahead and practice some SQL injections and some remote file exploits and upload exploits and things like that. So I'm going to first show you how to install one of my favorite tools, the OWASP Bricks program, which is a web application. It's a security learning platform. So I get a lot of questions from people that ask me, where can I practice some of the things I talk about? Not only that, but if you don't have access to a web server, or if you don't feel like you have enough knowledge to run your own web server to get some practice on, this is exactly where you should probably start. So go to soundforge.net/projects/OWASP-bricks and download the application. It's just a simple zip file. I think it's about 2 megabytes or so. And while that's downloading, what I'm going to do is open up a terminal, and let's start our services. We're going to start our Apache server, which is our web server, and I'm doing this within Linux, or my operating system. So service Apache 2 start, and then service MySQL start. So this will start the Apache web server and the SQL server. We need both of those to work in conjunction together, because SQL is going to hold the database that we're going to use, and then the Apache server is going to serve up the PHP web files that we're going to use. Alright, so now that we got our services started, we've got this file downloaded. Let's open that zip file. And what you'll want to do is just, you could extract that bricks folder to your, let's see, where are we? Our var www. If you're still using Linux, if you're still using Kali Linux 1.1.0, you could extract it to this. But if you're using Kali 2 or any other Linux that you see that has the HTML folder in there, go ahead and open the HTML folder and just extract it into there. Now I've already extracted it, so I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, and I'll show you the present working directory. We're in the var www html bricks, and these are the files from your zip file extraction. Now a couple of things that we want to do. We need to remove this file, because this has the default settings. We're not going to be using the default settings, so let's go ahead and remove the local settings PHP. And we're also going to have to change our permissions so we could access this. So change mod or chmod 755 star, and that's going to change all the permissions for all the files, so we have read access and execute access. Alright, so let's clear that out. Another big thing that we have to do is we actually have to create, create the database that we're going to use, where all the information for bricks will be stored. Now it's pretty easy. It sounds a little bit complicated, but you just have to type in MySQL, and the user is root, and do -p, hit enter. It's going to ask for the password. Type in the password if needed, hit enter, see if that works. If it doesn't, then the default root password is typically Tor, that's T-O-O-R, and hit enter, and you should get the MySQL command line interface. Now all we have to do here is just create database. You could call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it bricks, and always end your SQL statements with a semicolon. Alright, so query OK, one row affected, and you could confirm that if you go to show databases, again SQL query needs a semicolon, and you should see a database that was created under the name bricks. Perfect. So I'm going to quit MySQL, and let's open up a web browser, because what we're going to do, let's go to our local host. And whoops, sorry, that was local host, and I forgot I put it in bricks. And for some reason we don't have permission. Let's go back to bricks. I forgot to change the mode. Alright, so if you did it within the bricks directory, go back one directory by cd ... and we got to change the mode for the actual folder itself. Now it should work. Perfect. When you pull it up, you should get the configuration screen. Our database username was root. If you had a password, type in the password, Tor. If not, leave it blank. Our database name was Bricks. And our database host is going to be our local machine, our local host. I highly recommend that you keep the show executed commands checked, and I'll show you why in just a minute. And what this is going to do once we submit, it's going to generate the local settings local settings PHP file that we need. This is generated on our specific information. Now, of course, you could have already gone in and instead of removing the local settings.php, you could have manually done this if you wanted to. Again, I just prefer doing it on my own. All right, so depending on where that downloaded, mine downloaded to home downloads, I believe. And I'm going to move that local settings file to var www html bricks. So I'm just moving the file over. As you can see, it's gone. And we also, believe it or not, have to go back here real quick. And we have to change the mode for the local settings as well. And once that's done, refresh your browser, go to setup and reset the database, and in just a moment it should be done, and we can go back to the home page. Now this is what the Bricks system looks like as soon as we get in. If you go to Bricks, you'll have three different options that you could choose. You could do SQL injections, meaning go ahead and practice your SQL injection skills. File upload vulnerabilities, how to break file upload procedures. And then also you have your content pages where you can work on breaking in and doing some cross-site scripting. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the login pages. Each one of these is going to present you with a different challenge. And not only that, it's rated basically from the easiest to the hardest. And I'll go ahead and work through the first one with you guys just to show you what SQL injection is about. Now, this is a typical login screen that you'll normally see on web pages. So let's test admin password. We'll see if it works. Submit. We've got the wrong username or password. This is what I was talking about before. This shows you the SQL query that was generated. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced, you could uncheck that box when we were doing the configuration so this doesn't appear, and then you could try different methods. But I like to have it if you're just learning and trying to figure out exactly what's going on behind the scenes. Now, one of the oldest SQL injections, I guess the oldest, or one of the oldest, is if you have never seen it before, it's the OR 1 equals 1 injection. Okay? And what that's going to do, I'll show you here. Personally, I just like, especially because the password field is going to be obviously hidden, I like to do my scripting in LeafPad first and then paste it into the password field. So we'll use the same admin, and for password, password didn't work before, but look closely. Password equals apostrophe password apostrophe. Now this is where SQL injection is going to come into play. And how we're going to do this is, let's go ahead and type in password, and we're going to insert an apostrophe, which is going to end the first part of it. Then we're going to go to OR 1 equals 1 apostrophe 1. So make sure this is exact, and I'll show you exactly why this works in just a second. So password or 1 equals 1, and do not put a second apostrophe, because what ends up happening is this part of it will be inserted into the apostrophes that are already generated. So what you get is, you get password equals password, which would be false. We already know that that's false. Or 1 equals 1, which is true. Now, when you have an OR statement, for programming purposes, only one statement has to be true for the entire thing to be true. So either password is true or 1 equals 1 is true. And as we all know, I hope, 1 equals 1, right? So let's go ahead and test that out and see if this works. We're going to copy. I'm going to use admin. I'm just going to go ahead and paste that in there, and I'll hit submit. Successfully logged in. So again, what this is doing, it's saying it's going to select everything from the users, where the name is admin, which we typed in, and password equals password, which is false, or password equals true. Or excuse me, or 1 equals 1 equals true. So this gives the system a true statement, and name equals admin gives the system a true statement, and you're logged in that way. So that's step 1. Again, you could keep messing around. You could go to login 2. Login 2 is probably going to be, or should be, a little bit harder. All right. Now, it looks the same, but I'll let you guys see the difference because this does use some JavaScript validation before it submits it to the SQL query. Anyway, I hope this was informative. If you have any questions about setting up Bricks, let me know. Otherwise, I'm probably going to be doing tutorials for each of these sections to show you guys exactly how to get in for all of these login screens, for all the file upload pages, and for all the content pages. But until then, practice, research, hone your skills. Obviously, this is going to be a great way for you to practice without getting in trouble with the law, because this is going to be on your computer, and you could ask yourself for permission if you'd like. All right, I'll see you guys later.